All right, so we mentioned that managerial accountants are more working on cross-functional teams as opposed to just sitting with the accountants. They're all throughout the organization. And we're going to see that a big part of the change in the role of management accountants has been due to technology, right? We have everything being computerized, and so it's not just number crunching is not the task of a managerial accountant. Now a managerial accountant has more of a consulting role. They bring their expertise on how things are going to affect the financial reporting, which ultimately affects the success of the company, right? The financial reporting is going to drive the stock price. And so we need to be looking at the effect on operating income on all of the decision making. And so management accountants are going to be brought in and use their expertise to say how the financial reporting would change as a result and kind of guide them to the course of action that is going to yield the highest operating income. So they're not just number crunching anymore. And so what type of skills do you think a management accountant would need? Okay. Well, we can see obviously with that they need to know accounting if they're going to be advising on financial reporting. They need to know all about the business, not just about accounting, about how the business works and the various courses of action that a company could take because they're going to be in that consulting role. So problem solving and analytical skills are going to be crucial to success in accounting. And that's really even financial reporting as well, as being able to think critically, right? We're not just all about the posting and the mathematical part, right? All that's being done by the computer now. So now we need to really be honing our critical thinking skills. Excel is going to be important. That's why in financial accounting, we worked in Excel, and I always encourage my students, we just do the very basic things in Excel in our financial accounting Excel labs, but any job you're going to apply to, they're going to expect you to have an even more advanced knowledge of Excel. So I encourage students to keep working on Excel, keep building those Excel skills. And then communication skills. Written communication skills, so much is done through email now, right? So it's important to be able to express yourself written, but also verbal communication. That's why you have requirements for communication requirements for any degree that you're going to be working on. And then collaboration skills. That's why a lot of students will say, oh, I really don't like working on those group projects, but you need to be able to work on a team because you're going to be expected to be a team player in whatever role you take, whatever career path you take. And so you've probably heard about the CPA exam, the Certified Public Accountant. Well, there is a Certified Management Accountant, and we have an Institute of Management Accountants that gives this credential. And so this is something that you may decide to pursue if you want to go this route. And so ethics is a focus in financial accounting. It's also a focus here in management accountant because the information that we're providing as a management accountant is guiding the decision making of the business. And so here's our overarching ethical principles. So competence, we need to be continuously developing our knowledge, our skills. We have professional development requirements that we need to be taking into account and making sure we're doing. Confidentiality, so we can't use the confidential information for unethical or illegal advantage, right? That's kind of the insider trading type aspects. But we will be getting confidential information, say about salaries, when we're trying to decide, maybe to if we should drop an unprofitable product line of our business and we're gathering the information, we may learn about the salaries of some of the employees. Obviously, we have to, be preserving confidentiality and not disclosing that information. Integrity. So conflicts of interest, they say, is what the slide says, but we don't want to behave in any ways that are unethical or that are going to discredit the profession. And then credibility. Communicate information fairly and objectively. So we don't want to bias the information. So for instance, in that example that I just talked about, where maybe we're gathering the information about whether we should drop a product line, right? Well, I mean, maybe you have some friends working on that product line. You don't want that product line to be dropped. You cannot present the information to guide the decision so that they don't drop the product line because you want to save your friend's job. You need to provide the information objectively and, let the people that are in charge of the decision have all of the information when they make that decision. So clearly ethical behavior, super important all throughout business. But you'll see, and one of the reasons why a business ethics course is going to be required for any business degree that you're getting is because in business there's especially a focus on behaving ethically, and you'll find various decisions, situations that come up, and you have to make sure that you are making the right choice. So for instance, somebody may pad their expense reports, right? And you need to have to find a way, to question the person, to remind them of, the right way to report. Sometimes that becomes difficult if it's your boss filing an expense report with extra expenses. Manipulating income. So we have a lot of things in financial accounting where we can do estimates, right? If we think about bad debts expense or depreciation, estimates are required of us. And so are we making the estimates accurately, or are we using those estimates to make our operating income look different than it actually is? Okay. So these are some various examples of unethical behavior that come into play in accounting. If you are in a situation where you have ethical dilemma, your company, all companies now have codes of ethics, so follow whatever the policies are. If we can't get it resolved, discuss with your immediate supervisor. If the problem is your immediate supervisor or the dilemma involves your immediate supervisor, maybe there's someone else in the company that could help you. If things get really bad, you may need to consult an attorney. Management accounting, we said changing due to the changes in technology. The role of the management accountant has changed, but also there's some different business trends and regulatory issues that have changed the management accounting position. So we've got big data and data analytics, the shifting economy, globalization, lean thinking and quality, and sustainability, as well as the Sarbanes-Oxley Act I kind of alluded to already in the last video. So big data. So now we're having things that are computerized. Even a small company is going to be using QuickBooks. Larger companies have enterprise resource planning systems that are going to be compiling information for us. And so that's why management accountants are now being brought in to be more consultants. They're analyzing the data, they're interpreting the data, they're not having to do the number crunching anymore. And then our shifting economy. If we go back 40, 50 years ago, right, our economy was based on manufacturing businesses, and we still have manufacturing businesses. In fact, our business advisory board here at Prairie State College, we have some folks involved in manufacturing, and they say manufacturing is still thriving in the state of Illinois. So there are plenty of manufacturing jobs, but the economy in general has shifted to there's more service businesses than there are manufacturing businesses. And so we're going to be focusing a lot on manufacturing because in this course, because we've already talked about service businesses and merchandising businesses, And so now we're going to be actually looking at manufacturing for the first time. And manufacturing is more complex. The accounting for manufacturing businesses is more complex than for merchandisers or service businesses. So once you've got it down for a manufacturer, it is more easily applied to service businesses and manufacturing businesses. Competing in the global marketplace. So we have international trade barriers have fallen. We have the internet. Even small businesses are able to do business internationally. And this is going to change the information that management accountants have to factor in. So we need to have more detailed, more real-time information, because now we have competitors all over the globe. And so competition has intensified. And so we need to have the real-time information. We need to be able to act quickly. We also need to know about the companies where we're doing business. And so we need to know about the laws in that country. We also need to be able to consider, changes in currency. Okay? And we also have to learn practices in the foreign countries, management techniques. We have to learn about our competition in those other countries. Another thing that has been a focus in companies is lean operations. So when we're talking about lean operations, we're talking about ways that we can eliminate waste. And so this has been a focus of companies. How can they streamline their streamline their operations, eliminate waste, eliminate the inefficiencies, right? One of the things that that companies have looked at is called just-in-time inventory. So rather than just churning out inventory and putting them on shelves, that's going to cost a lot of money, tie up a lot of money in inventory. You also got to then pay to store it. So a lot of companies are just producing enough inventory in order to fill orders. So management accountants are called in to help consult on those types of decisions. Sustainability has become a big focus of companies. So we're talking about sustainability. We're talking about a way that we can, keep our environment going indefinitely. And so a lot of times we think about sustainability, we think about the environment, the environmental piece, and that is a very important piece. But there's also the social piece and the economic piece. And so some people refer to the triple bottom line. The bottom line, we think of our financial statement, the bottom line is the net income, the profitability of the company, and that's really what drives our share prices. But thinking about the people, the social aspect, as well as the environment, the planet aspect, those are just as important as profit, and a lot of times they're interrelated. So companies are now not just looking at doing whatever they can to increase their operating income. They're also looking at ways where they can do things that are good for the environment, as well as do things that are good for the community where they are operating, where their customers are, right? Their customers have to be doing well in order for them to come and buy their product. So they want to take care of communities. And so this is a focus where they're putting things into place that are good for the environment, but then they also look at donating to the community and helping the community so that their customer base is doing well. That's good for their company as well. So you got to spend money to make money is kind of the philosophy. And then the last one is the Sarbanes-Oxley Act, right? We learned about this back in financial accounting after some of those accounting scandals. This law was enacted to make the financial reporting more transparent so that people would feel comfortable investing in companies, right? And kind of some of the big things were the CEO and the CFO had to take responsibility for the financial statements, and the buck stops with them. They're responsible. If there's fraud reporting, they can face jail time and big fines. They had to set up internal control, so there were steps in place to prevent fraud or at least detect it if it happened. and do an annual assessment of the internal controls. So there's a lot of steps that are involved in the company, and the managerial accountant needs to be aware of these steps and be in compliance